Hello, and welcome to an all-new episode of Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show. I am one of your hosts, Kente, all the way live from Los Angeles, California. This is hour 22 in the 24-hour podcast, and I can't believe I'm still awake. Haven't been to sleep, and we have just 4 hours left. And this is going to be a special episode. I'm here with my wonderful, lovely co-host, the one and only Shannon. How you doing, Shannon?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. And we have 3 hours left. Praise the Lord.
No, 4. This is 2, right? Yeah, this is 2. No, yeah,
3 hours left.
Yeah, you know I'm tripping. I don't even know.
I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. Myself that last hour, but I'm going to bed.
Right, I'm tripping. You're right. So, and also joining us, let's start off with the disembodied voices. You actually, if you're looking, you see them. Wait, right there. Let's start off with the lady. We have Tori Rush. How you doing, Tori?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty awesome. How are you been? It's been a minute since we had a chance to chop it up with you, Tori.
I know. My life has been chaotic, but I'm good. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about this. I don't know why you asked me here, though, because I don't understand. I don't know. I have not found Mr. Right at all.
Okay, Tori, she got it like that. She's one of those people that, when it's time to get the deal on the car, they always, for some reason, hook her up. So.
Yes, that's exactly it. You got it right on the head.
All right, so let's go back because we're doing ladies first. We have on video, we have Miss Jada Lopez Jenkins. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You've given out my whole government. How you know I want people to know I'm married? Huh? That's Jada Lopez on there. Okay, it does not say Jenkins on there. It says Jada Lopez.
You were on something, and that's how you. That's how you introduce.
Right? Like, I'm just saying, put my whole government. No, I'm just playing. Hello, everyone.
Hilarious. So, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
About me?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so I am an entrepreneur. I do hosting. I am coming out with my own podcast. I've never done that before. I'm coming out also with my own clothing line for short, curvier girls. I'm married. I don't have any kids yet. I'm a native New Yorker. I do public speaking as well. And I'm an awesome chick all around. What?
Well, welcome to the show, Jada. Welcome to the show.
Steph says say no to kids, and that's kind of where we are right now. I will say that right now. No, because she has kids. She has a child. She has a son. But so sometimes she's speaking from experience. She's just telling me to enjoy life right now. That's what she's saying. I don't think she's saying no to kids at all, but I think she's saying just say no to kids right now. And I understand. I feel you, Steph.
Dre said kids, and more kids.
Since we started a little late, we'll actually go until 7:30. So we'll do it like that.
7:30.
Yeah. So we'll push back the final show about 30 minutes. So, but thank you so much for being here. And next to you is a gentleman I had the pleasure of meeting. I think it was yesterday.
Yes, yesterday.
Yeah, it was. So introduce us to everybody, and then tell us how you know this young lady that you're sitting next to.
Well, my name's Howard Jenkins, and I met Miss Jada here some time ago, and I was lucky enough because I definitely did not make. I guess I made a great first impression, but it wasn't that great. I guess it wasn't fairy tale like. I guess so. I was fortunate and blessed enough to get a chance to actually spend some more time with her, and then it led to me spending the rest of my life with her. So I am very blessed in that regard. So
I appreciate you.
I don't know if you know this. You guys you guys are on the show for a specific reason. You are living proof that it can happen. So you guys are like the standard bearer, I guess, for this topic. So thank you for being on. And you could tell how much this brother loves his wife because he has that look in his eye, like he had that little look, right? Everybody saw it, right? I definitely understand, man. That's cool. Man. I love it. We love it. All right. So also joining us, we'll go back to the disembodied voices on Skype, calling in from Skype. We also have Anthony in the house. This is his third time on the show. How you doing, Anthony? Oh, did we lose you, Anthony?
I'm not doing too bad. I'm here. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. And you're from the ATL?
I'm definitely in the ATL. And yeah, man, I'm just having a good time. I'm about to die food because I'm stay alive. But other than that, man, I'm enjoying 2019 so far.
All right, and you guys don't know this. Anthony is such a wonderful guy. He's buying food for everybody. So put your orders in.
Awesome.
Put your order in.
Right.
I will email you a link to the menu, and then I'll take phenomenal
Because I was
pictures.
reading.
So vivid that you'll feel like it's actually there.
You know, lemon peppers on.
I like that.
I'm on that same wave, Shannon.
All right, and then last but definitely not least, you want to mute Anthony? Last but definitely not least, you know him. We call him the Captain Olaf Barbosa. How you doing, Olaf?
I am doing fantastic, and was the second or third show in this whole thing, which I love. I love the 24-hour program. It's going to get to be on more.
Yes, that's right. Extra Olaf.
Olaf for the day. Yep.
All right. Okay, so let's get to the topic. The topic is finding Mr. or Mrs. Right. So it depends on what you are looking for. And a lot of people have their ideas of what is Mr. or Mrs. Right. Some people, they may say Mr. or Mrs. Right is very attractive. It may be their Mr. and Mrs. Right is very smart. Mr. and Mrs. Right could be a lot of different things. So I think a good place to start off with is our resident poet and love expert, Shannon. She's going to give us an idea of what is Mr. Right for her.
Well, before I even get there,
Thank you, Shannon.
Hi, Dre. How are you?
Dre.
Podcast, right?
Word. Right.
What's the Dre?
Oh my God! I'm slow today. I'm sorry. It's 22 hours. The brother's literally looking straight at me. Wait a minute. I'm so sorry. This brother Dre is a terrific podcaster and streamer. Awesome. He is a great member of this community. He's been kicking it with us all day, and my dumbass forgot you. So please forgive me, man.
No matter.
Yes. So Dre, Dre,
how's it going, everybody?
Yes, thank you. I'm so sorry, man. Shannon made me do it.
So disrespectful.
All right, so Shannon, what is your idea of Mr. and Mrs. Right? Mrs. Right, Mr. Right. See, I'm about to start slurring and stuff.
I really don't have a physical visual. I have more so a character visual. He is a man of integrity, good humor, honest, intelligent. I mean, that's a good starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Good faith. I like somebody with a good relationship with the Lord. But
okay,
I can tell you my do nots. No gambling, no domestic violence, no excessive drug usage. That does not include weed because you asked me that already.
And we're about to do our weed show.
Yeah, there's different shows.
Well, okay, what is that? I hear this a lot. He has to have a good relationship with the Lord. What does that exactly mean?
Yeah, I would like to know that too.
Are they on first name basis? What are you talking about?
Well, I would like him to have a relationship with the Lord. I guess that's what I should have said.
Can I ask you? I'm sorry, right? And if he doesn't, but he's still a great and amazing person, what does that look like? Because you can have a relationship with the Lord and still be a bad person. You know that, right?
That is all fact. And I mean, and I didn't say that was the only issue. I mean, or the only thing. No. Of course, you want to examine the person you're engaging. Just because they know the Lord doesn't mean they actually live that out, that principle. So that comes with discernment and getting to know someone better. That's just the beginning.
Do they have to be clarification on having a relationship with the Lord? I mean, what if the guy doesn't go to church very often, but still follows the commandments and stuff, and still lives a life like but doesn't go to church all that often? Does that rule him out, or?
That's a conversation to be had. Olaf, you're trying to make me your third wife.
Well, I got everything else going for me. I'm just checking on the other, the Lord relationship part.
I'm saying.
I don't know. Like, okay, do they have to be a Baptist specifically? Can they be Mormon?
I'm not worried about denomination. I grew up missionary Baptist. I currently attend Southern Baptist. Mm-hmm. Two totally different strokes as Jade. My first pastor was Black. My current pastor is white. Mm-hmm. So they look totally different, down to the music. So it has nothing to do with the denomination. It has everything to do with the relationship for me. And that's just me. I can't speak for anybody else.
I guess I think probably what people want to know is how does one quantify that? How do you know a guy would have a relationship with God? A guy would have a relationship with God or not? Like, what would that?
The word says you will know them by the fruit that they bear. So that takes time. You're not gonna just figure that out today.
Yeah,
I got to get to know you, and I'm not about to put my tongue down your mouth or give you my cookies before I find out, because I'm too old for that at this point. I need to know who you are.
They some holy cookies.
And you know what? I think that's a good point too. Some people say stuff like, "I want them to have a relationship with God," and I guess not every people can be great, amazing people without believing in any deity. But the hope is, right, if you have a relationship with God, then your character would reflect that, or at least somewhat reflect it. So I think that's probably a good thing, where if you see somebody that says they have a relationship with God and it shows, then it should reflect their character, and it would be
absolutely. And that's why I said you'll know it by the fruit they bear. And again, these are getting to know processes. You're not just saying, oh, today he has these qualities, tomorrow we get married. Mm-hmm. I'm not naive.
But part of this is also like finding Mr. and Mrs. Right. I think faith is one of those things that people overlook. So if you have a strong faith in Jesus and the person that you're dating does not, or anything else, like if somebody is a devout Muslim or a devout Catholic and the other person that you're dating is not, eventually it can cause friction in the relationship. And so identifying, I guess, each other's cultures and interests and things like that is important. You can't find Mr. or Mrs. Right just by looking at the outside appearance or even just the character, because eventually what's going to happen is that, you guys get married and you would like your spouse to go to church with you, and your spouse is like, well, that's never been my thing. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Then you start feeling like, but I really want this for my family. So
no,
they may not
you have those conversations earlier, I think, Dre, and I think that also comes with age and maturity and understanding of yourself, because I think earlier on for some people it's like, oh my gosh, that person's so this or that or the other, and those are all maybe surface things, but they're not willing to dig deeper until they're too late.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known that.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm in the game later in life. So it's like, I need to know these things now.
Yeah.
Because what you're getting is a real me. And I don't want you to give me a representative. And then 10 years down the road, I find out who you really are. And I'm like, whoa, what did I sign up for? Like, I'm not going to do that to you. And I sure don't want you to not waste each other's time.
Let me ask the guys a question. Because we often hear the relationship with the Lord from women. Is that a turnoff? A woman who is completely not religious at all, or anything like that, or is that just something you don't really look at?
Okay.
I think, well, for me anyway, it's never been an issue because I myself, I'm not a believer in religion, so quite the opposite. If I met a female, if I wasn't married and she was extremely religious, it would actually, for me anyway, I know I would probably take a step back and be like, hey, look, this is where I stand. And if that's okay with you, then we can move forward. But you need to know we're not going to practice the same things. I'm not going to believe in what you believe in. We're always going to be at opposite ends, even if we have kids. You may want to put the religion on them, but for me, I'm like, look, I'm not going to do that to them. So it's a little, for me, this is strictly for me. It wouldn't be an issue for me if it was not an issue for her. As long as at some point she's not sitting there trying to like every once in a while try to convert me. Yeah, like, hey, look, you want to come? Like, I'm cool with 1 or 2 church events, but I'm every Sunday. I'm not with you. I'm not gonna be with you in them pews. That's just being honest. And that's how I stand. And I'm fortunate that that I'm in a relationship that I'm in where it's not an issue, but it has been an issue in the past. So.
And I think just because somebody doesn't, believe in God or practice religion doesn't make them necessarily a bad person. And I think this is one of the things that you guys got to realize in the very beginning of the relationship. Like for me, where it is that I date, I would like for them to have a relationship with God also, or faith in God, or practice the same faith that I practice, so that there isn't conflict in the future. And that's, I guess, part of finding Mr. or Mrs. Right for me.
For you, exactly. That's what I always like to say. Mm-hmm. It has to be for you.
Well, there's also different spirituality is different than being religious too. So like,
that's right.
You can be spiritual. You can be a spiritual person
and not be
connect on a religious level.
Exactly.
What's religion? What's being religious? What is that? What's the difference between religion?
Specific religion, like being a Christian or being a Muslim or being Hindu, like dedicating yourself to a specific genre of religions, like and there's a lot of sacrifice in that too. Being spiritual doesn't necessarily mean that you're not sacrificial, but like you don't go by like maybe all the certain rules. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like I think that being spiritual means more like you're you can be more open-minded sometimes about different aspects of life, mm-hmm. because you're not so blinded by what you've been taught.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think it's in finding Mrs. Right for myself, it's kind of difficult to navigate the religious aspect, because I grew up in a Christian church. I grew up as a Christian. I, at this point, do not, I guess, consider myself a Christian. There's still certain values or principles that I hold, but I just don't subscribe to the inundation that I felt like I was put under or subjected to as I was younger. But I guess the difference in that is, as far as being, which is one of the principles, is being not unequally yoked. And so in having conversations with women or attempting to date, I've seen interest diminish rapidly once we got to the religion portion of the conversation. Everything else maybe be lining up and they'll be engaging in cool. But as soon as, okay, well, how's your relationship with you believe in Jesus? And like, all of a sudden I hear The Price is Right. I'm like, oh, here it goes. We're gonna see how much further this conversation is. Like, well, no, I don't. I believe in God. I believe in Creator. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do with Jesus. And that's kind of where I stand. I'm still navigating and figuring out what is true for me, what my truth is, and what it is that I'm supposed to, I guess, subscribe to or align myself with in order for me to live the purest form of life for myself, to be on my path. And I realize it doesn't necessarily resonate with a lot of people because I guess in the regions that I've traveled in or that I've lived in, they're primarily dominated by Christianity. And I don't know how much of a difference it would make for me at this point in life, whether or not we believe the exact same thing or we follow the exact same thing. Like if because I was married and that wasn't a point of an issue or a point of content or of tension, because she wanted to go to church heavily, regularly, Sundays, be there every Bible study, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I grew up doing that. That's not what works for me. If it works for you, that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with her going to church. And she's like, oh no, we got to go together. Well, I'm like, I don't. Whatever you're receiving, I'm not benefiting from this. From this exchange, from going with you. I need something different. And that there was not really an understanding or even an attempt to understand that my position in that. And so I think it can play a major part, but I think if you, as you get older, you either get more stuck in your ways or you become a little bit more open-minded and a little bit more, I guess, lenient and understanding on people's positions and ideas in a lot of things, including religion.
Did your position change, or was it always that way? Like when you were in the relationship, was it one way before, and did it change during the relationship?
Well, in my relationship, I attempted to go back and do the same thing I did before, as far as the heavy church attendance, being spiritually employed, as it was taught throughout the church, and kind of being there almost around the clock. And I'm like, I'm not really living my life, and this is not to say that I'm just trying to live buck wild, but I'm like, my identity is so wrapped up into this establishment, I don't know who I am. And so I tried it once again when we were together, because we met at the church. I actually tried it again before her, and we met through that. And it's like, there were still certain things that didn't really stick right with me, didn't resonate with me, or that I didn't agree with. And it's like, I just can't do this anymore. I can't do this version of it anymore. There's something else out here for me. This just as it is. So it did change. Okay. I think there was just an evolution for me in that time period, and that evolution wasn't understood.
And I think that's what Shannon's point was in the beginning.
Right.
Trying to identify that in the very beginning, because if it's that's what she values, she would like him to value the same thing to find what's right for her. And,
and I respect it. I respect it, Shannon. What it look like,
And
kids and sex. And because if you don't want kids, you need to have that conversation, because you don't want to get relationship with somebody who wants to have a brood or a basketball team, and you like, can we just get a puppy? And the same thing with you may be totally Tahitian vanilla, and they may want to be caramel cookie fudge, and y'all need to have that conversation, because they looking at you like, oh my God, you are satanic. You want me to do what with my what? No, have those conversations from jump and be okay with it. I'm pretty open. Like, there ain't too, even as a Christian, I'm here for the BDSM. So let's have all these conversations.
Oh, absolutely. And I respect it. And I just wanted to know what it looked like. When I think Kente had asked, and then I had asked too, because I wanted to know, like, I think we were just curious. And just like Kente said, coming from a male's perspective, like, what does that look like if a female says that from the beginning? Whether is it a turn off? Is it a turn on? I respect it, though. I think everyone has to know what they want as an individual within themselves, and also from a partner. You have to figure out whatever the things that you like and dislike, things that you're willing to tolerate, things that are just like a deal breaker for you. So I get it and I respect it. You know, that's for you. That's your Mr. That's what your Mr. Right looks like for you. And I respect it. I mean, there's no right or wrong answers for this because we're all individuals. We do things differently. So our perspectives come from different places. Yeah. So there's no right or wrong answer. Your Mr. Right is going to look different from my Mr. Right, from the next female's Mr. Right, you know, and Andre's Mrs. Right is going to look different than my husband's, than Kente's, than, you know, Olaf's, all of it. So, yeah, you just have to find what's good for you. And again, I respect that.
Let me ask this question because this is something we've talked about before on the show, but we have a different panel for this. And this kind of goes to picking that mate. And of course, we have this wonderful couple too to give their insight on it. Is how important is it their circle, the people that they hang out with, the people they chose to be in their life, their friends, their homies, their associates. How important is that in deciding if you want to deal with that person?
To me, that's a fairly big one because if you don't mesh well with their friends and all that, and then like if you have let's say you have a barbecue and you have her friends over and I have my friends over, and it looks like, you know, the meeting of the Hatfields and McCoys, it's not going to be, your relationship is not going to go very far because you can never do anything with her friends, or I can't do anything with her friends and she can't do anything with my friends because nobody gets along. So to me, the friends have to have some similarities. I mean, they don't have to be exactly the same and have the same interests and everything, but there has to be some common ground that everybody can work with.
And there needs to be a good balance between having a friend there for you and having a friend in your relationship. Because I've had like friends that have brought me into their relationship, you know what I mean? Like in arguments and been like, well, she was, you know, they would bring me into their arguments and stuff, and it was very uncomfortable. So there has to be a boundary of like how much friends are allowed in, you know, different aspects of your life.
You know what I hate real quick before Jada and her husband say is if your friend asks you some advice and then they tell their mate, well, Kente said that I shouldn't even be listening to you. Dude, you corny.
That's cold.
But go ahead, Jada and your husband.
So for me, it was definitely important, right? He doesn't care about any of that crap, right? Let me tell you.
Don't care.
For me, that was really important. I literally checked him on all his friends. I didn't like any of his friends at all.
None of them.
Like none of them. There were like a few family members that I didn't like either. And I'm just being completely honest.
I hope they're not watching this.
I'll be the first one to say.
Where they at now, though? Where those friends at now? They go.
I will say, it was definitely like a shock. Like I had never experienced that. So I remember, if I remember correctly, like the first one out the gate you didn't like was my cousin, right?
Yeah, no.
So
I didn't like him.
This was like my right hand.
And I told him I didn't like him.
Like day one, like me and this man went to preschool together. We went to high school.
They
like,
family.
We actually legit family, first cousins. So I'm like, I'm about to take you to, like, I'm excited. Like I'm like, yo, I'm about to meet, like, you about to meet my best friend, my homie. Yo, I think like all of like maybe 2 minutes there.
2 seconds.
I literally felt the vibe in the whole room shift, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is horrible." And then like and I will say like Jada is good for like, yo, if she's not comfortable, everybody gonna know she's not comfortable. Like because
I'm gonna make you feel uncomfortable too.
We all gonna be uncomfortable together. So she sat there, and like I never forget it because I remember you was like, I don't even want to sit down. And
I didn't want to sit down.
God, I was like,
I didn't like.
I just remember saying like, why can't my phone just ring and I can be like, oh, we gotta go. Like, didn't happen. And the awkwardness was not even there. It was just like when we left, and we got in the car, and then it's that silence. But like, if the car turns on, the radio comes on, it's that awkward silence, like, and then as soon as I turn off the block, she's just, I don't like your friends, and I just fuck, and like because I already know that nothing, like if I wanted to, I already know the issues that would potentially arise, like if I wanted to do something like a group setting, or if I wanted to, I already know she wouldn't be really inclined to hang out with him. So that kind of in the beginning put a little rift between us. So liking friends is important. If any of her friends didn't like me, to be honest, I wouldn't have cared. Like,
and I mean, to be like, okay, so all jokes aside, right? And this is a true story. As far as just me not vibing with any, I thought they were extremely stagnant. That's what it was. I didn't see the potential in his friends. I didn't see the growth. I saw him being held back by them in a sense, like hanging, like I feel like you are the company that you keep, in my opinion, right?
I agree.
And everyone has their own perspective and their opinion. To me, I think that statement holds true, right? So for me, I just didn't like them. I didn't think that they were on his level. I felt like he could have been hanging out with other smarter, just different type of people, right? So I think it's extremely important because of the fact that, again, you are the company that you keep. So I think they're a representative of you and you're a representative of them. The same way when I walk outside, I represent my husband. When he walks outside, he represents me no matter what, right? When we're not together, right? So that being said, I didn't like the way they moved. I didn't like the way they did things. And I'm able to literally peep bullshit from a mile away. And I was able to peep that. And hence, most of his friends, his so-called friends around that time, are really no longer in his life. And that has to say something. And this was years ago. So it wasn't like something that happened overnight. He was able to literally see that on his own. I didn't tell him he couldn't stop hanging out with them. Literally, his so-called friends and certain family members literally showed their ugly head when in due time.
And I will say that I will give my wife credit because she was able to see things. She was able to see things from a different perspective than I was, because these are people that I've been around since childhood. So I mean, I definitely was blinded to the fact that as we definitely matured and grew up, that some of us matured faster than others. And again, as soon as she would meet certain people, she picked up on it from out the gate.
I didn't like their energy.
Well, I don't like this person. So for me, I'm like, well, what don't you like about them? And I already had my perception of how I viewed this person. And this is her first time meeting them. So she was able to just kind of pick apart certain things, and she was able to see things that I wasn't able to see. And sure enough, once she opened the door and kind of like lifted the veil, and I was able to get out the bird box, I was able to see these people for who they were. And again, this move definitely showed who my true friends were, because could our relationships withstand the distance? And again, my core friends were like, look, we love you no matter where you are. Exactly. And again, they keep in contact with me. It's not a one-sided friendship. You know, those people who you're always the first one to hit them up, and if you don't hit them up, you'll never hear from them. Like, it wasn't like that. So I will say that she definitely helped me see who was really for me and who wasn't just around me.
And you know what? Jada called it Operation Clean Sweep. Like, get him up out of here.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
I literally was not for the shits. I would let him know from day one, like, I don't like that person. That person doesn't benefit you. And I was real. And to be quite honest, I really was. I was real open and honest and blunt with him. And I told him why. It wasn't like for superficial reasons. Like, I would tell him in depth, like, this is why this person isn't good for you in your life. You know, I'm already seeing how they move. I see how they act. It's just not a good look for you and the future that you're trying to build and the things that you're trying to do. It just wasn't beneficial. So to me, friends are important. And that's my opinion. And they say you shouldn't because you're not dating them, but you'll be surprised how influential the circle around whoever you're dating is extremely important. They're extremely influential. So you want somebody who's going to be like, if you're married, right, and your spouse is hanging out with ratchet people, right, people that are not doing well, they are going to have your spouse in some BS or around some stuff, and you would be like, oh, but isn't my spouse like grown? Shouldn't they know better? Yes, but sometimes whatever, you trust the person, right? And you've been around them for like 10 plus years. You're like, oh, they're not going to put me in harm's way. They're not going to jeopardize what I have going on with at home, but you'll be surprised. I promise you'll be surprised. Like, it just doesn't make sense, in my opinion.
Your childhood friend. That's when they fuck you over.
Oh yeah, them long-term relationships that you forged when you were, a little one. Yeah.
Yeah, they will throw you under the bus in a heartbeat. I've seen it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible, but yes.
Okay, so
because they see that you're happy and whatever it is, so you're happy in this new relationship, and they're not part of it, and jealous, so they're going to undermine it as quickly as they can.
And the time.
I do have one question for you. When you met like his different friends and things, and you said, I don't like that person because of this, and this. Did you just kind of like say it once and then that was it? Or did you
like a one-time person?
This was repeated often. More than not, it was repeated often. I definitely agree with you as far as them undermining a relationship. A lot of friends tend to, when a serious relationship does arise, they tend to think like, oh, I'm going to lose out on my quality time with this person. Like, they're not going to be so inclined now to want to get up and hang out on a Friday night or want to go drink till the sun comes up on a Saturday. So they feel some type of way. They generally feel some type of way and they don't view it as, oh, he's moving on to the next stage in his life. Let me be here and support him and kind of like be his
girlfriend doesn't want them to hang out,
Right.
And that was really one of our issues.
That was one of our issues. So
his friends didn't want me around because they saw him progressing with me, making him better.
Right.
They didn't like that.
So initially,
they were shitty friends.
Right. So initially, like, Mr. Turnip, I was Mr. Turnip. So it was just like, yo, we're gonna pound these drinks, we're gonna have these shots, we're gonna smoke this. And she kind of, in a sense, changed me in that regard. Where
we ain't doing none of that.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
So they was just like, wait, you're not doing this no more? And I'm like, nah, not like, I'm good. Like, and that was an issue. It's like, oh, she's changing you. And it's just like, damn, like, can my liver survive? Like, can I live my best life? Can I be healthy? And then that's when for me, that's when I really was able to see. So all it takes is for you to actually follow that one breadcrumb, and then subconsciously you follow the rest of them. So then that's when I started to pick up on if I did something good. So like if I purchased a car or something, or I did something good, they would be like, oh, they wouldn't celebrate my victories with me, as opposed they would just be there and be like, that's what's up, that's cool. Like, you could definitely tell who's a real friend based, like, if you do something well, how they celebrate with you, right? I don't care what you do. Like, if one of our mutual friends came out with a sneaker and sold 2 pairs, yo, we're gonna go out for dinner. You sold 2 pairs of your product, that's a blessing. We're gonna go celebrate. Where some people will be like, that's all you sold.
That's all you sold. Exactly.
Like, and exactly. And that's it.
Yeah. Let's connect the relationship. You found Jada. How many of your boys was like, yo, I'm so happy for you? Like, you found somebody that you can actually fall in love with. Like, what can I do to help progress your relationship?
The only friends that I have now that I still talk to. So my 2 best friends that I talk to from New York, like, one of my boys loves her, right? Because he knows her. So he's just like, so whenever, like, because again, so 2 of us are married and the other one's engaged. So we're pretty much all on the same level, like just about on the same level. And I will say, my friend Brian's quick to check me. Like, if we're talking and I'll say something, he'd be like, nah, son, Jada always right. He was like, you gotta listen to her. And then trust me, he's not, she'll tell you majority of my friends are not intellectual at all. Like, they're hood of, like, they're the true definition of hood. But I will say, when it comes to him sticking up for her or telling me where I went wrong, he's definitely quick to kind of like definitely put it in words where he's able to articulate it and tell me that I was at fault and I need to apologize.
So I do want to say real quick, like, so we're both kind of like, we're hood, but we're not. Like, we know how to turn it on and off. You know what I mean? Like, we're both in the Bronx, and we have it in us, but then there's a whole other side that we know how to like check. And, you know, and I think most of our friends are like that. Like most of our friends are hood, but then they're all like sophisticated in their own right. Like, right. So it has its on and off, but I just definitely didn't. Yeah, there was a lot of them that just didn't like.
She didn't like, and you know what? And again, I appreciate the fact that she was able to call a spade when she saw it. And I will say at the time, I definitely put up a fight. I definitely was like, nah, she's wrong. She got to be wrong. I knew this person for years. Like, how can? And sure enough, she was right all the time.
Can I ask you something real quick? Oh, I'm sorry, Kente.
No, go ahead.
Was like the situation between when you were married with your ex-wife? Did friends influence like certain things and certain decisions in your marriage?
Yeah, in a sense, yeah, especially toward the end,
really?
With her friends.
Gotcha.
Yeah, with her, they
circle is important.
It is.
In the beginning, there was I was young when I got married, so I wasn't able to recognize red flags in the very beginning. Even with her own friends, and some of them coming up to me and telling me, you know, she may not be the best choice for you.
Wow.
And I was like young, dumb, blind, and yes, and friendship is important. Your circle, your sphere of influence, are very important in relationships, because you have some people that I officiate weddings, and it's something that I say in every single wedding that I officiate. I don't just talk to the couple; I talk to everybody that's sitting, and I always tell them, I can guarantee with 100% certainty that these two are going to have conflict in their marriage. It's not up to you to support one or the other. If I look at the family of the groom and then the family of the wife, and I say, if he comes home and starts complaining about his wife, you let him complain for a little bit, you show some love and support, you give him dinner, and then you say, okay, it's 9:00, go back home and work it out with your wife. You know, that's what family and friends are supposed to do. You know,
that's exactly. I agree with you, Shannon. Go ahead. Let's clap. We could clap for that because I agree.
And I just want people to know too that we're going to go over 30 minutes. So the wrap up show starts at 7:30, which is 10:30 Eastern time. Sorry.
Let's just go to 45. This is getting good.
No, yeah, let's do it. We can do that.
Yeah. See,
so anything we want.
We sure can. Except for go that extra hour.
All right, so because we have a lot to really cover in this. There's another thing too I want to get to that kind of goes along the lines of this is the let's talk about the family aspect of it. And you kind of talked about it a little bit, but sometimes when you see the family that somebody comes from, that may affect your decision. You know, what mama and daddy like, with that kind of thing. So how much is that important?
That's very important. I had my ex before her. I will say that I remember literally saying, like, when I met her family, I was like, oh no, this is not good at all. And you guys, I'm new here, so you guys don't know. So I come from a very big family. My family's extremely close, and I think it's weird because now that I'm married, and every time I go home, I think about how unnatural it kind of. She points it out all the time. It's a little like they all live extremely close to one another. Like we're talking like 0.2 miles away, and we're talking about like 20 of us, if not more.
Yeah, his family's huge, just like a little ridiculous.
And they said, yo, we're gonna lock down this whole city or this neighborhood, and this is our shit. Like this is our turf. So yeah. So for me, that's what I was accustomed to, right? Granted, I lived in New York, but when I went to Delaware or Philly, that's what I would experience. So when I met her family, I didn't like anybody in her family. The only person I liked was her grandmother. And I remember thinking like having doubts.
He's talking about his ex.
I'm talking about my ex, yeah.
He's not talking about
No. I will say
he's not talking about my family.
No.
He's talking about the ex.
So I remember sitting there thinking like, because I knew eventually, like, if it gets serious, you're gonna end up merging your families. And I remember thinking, like, could her family like coexist with my family at a barbecue? And I remember thinking, like, I don't know how likely that is, right? And that actually made me question whether or not I could actually move on in a relationship, because that's extremely important. Like, I love her family. I love every relative in her family. They're all special in their unique ways.
Thank you.
And they're all, and I will say, I have a soft spot for every single one of them. And I will say the only bad thing is that I haven't met more of her family, because they're kind of like really spread out. Where for me, I remember bringing her to my family barbecue and was like, yo, you about to meet everybody. She's just like, what do you mean? I said, about to meet like 30 people, get your notepad out, you about to learn a whole bunch of names. And it was real. That's exactly what it was. So she's met like almost everyone. For the most part, like everybody. Years ago, she's met everyone.
He's still meeting people in my family.
I'm still meeting people where I'm just like, oh, nice to meet you. We've known each
other for a gazillion years now.
Right. But I will say it definitely plays a part, because if you feel like you can't really get along with their family, because again, if there's issues that will arise, because no relationship is perfect, they're gonna go back to their family. And if their family already, if you and the family already don't click, they're gonna always be on her side to push for the relationship to just like be dismissed. And that's never a good thing.
No, family is very important. I think when finding someone and when you're courting and you're going through your dating stages and figuring out their relationship with their mother, the relationship with their father, whether it's a male or female, whoever you're dating. So when we started dating, and this is how I would work with everyone, because I think it's work, right? You're getting interviewed, right? You really are. When you're dating, you're literally kind of weeding out the bullshit from everybody that you're dating. And I would ask him 1,001 questions, and he didn't really understand, because he didn't date like I did. I dated with a purpose, and he didn't come from that. So for me, it was like, oh, so, how's your relationship with your dad? Because if we have kids later on, whatever, that's going to trickle down, whatever, to our son or our daughter, or whatever. That's what I was thinking ahead, way before we even actually got into a dating relationship. We were just chilling and trying to figure each other out to see if we even click or not. Right. So for me, it was like 1,001 questions that I need answers for. Right. I'm like, well, how's the relationship with your mother? Okay, you have a sister. Well, how's the relationship with her? Do you guys clash? Do you guys argue? Whatever. Like, all those things are important, because again, subconsciously, we do a lot of things that we saw growing up. Right. And things that you don't even realize that you pick up habits from. And it's not a bad thing, but it's something that we do subconsciously. Things we literally mimic the things that we saw in our household growing up. And so that's important. I need to know, did your family argue a lot? Did your mom and dad argue around you? Did you see physical abuse or stuff like that? Whatever. I need to know these things, because that's a representative of you, because there's certain things, and you may be different, but again, that's important. Like, you know what I mean? So I think relationships with family is definitely important. Like, if I need to be able to call my mother-in-law today, it's no problem. That's my second mother. So exactly. Yeah. If he needs to be able to call my dad, that's his second dad. Like, things like that are very important. It really is. Family's important.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree. And I got some stories to tell about meeting family. Some real crazy ones, but I'll leave those for another day.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I know.
I think we all have those stories.
Oh man, yeah, I met some really sucky ass family members, but I want to go to Tori for a moment, and because we're talking about looking for Mr. and Mrs. Right. Are you with us, Tori?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
So, you out there in the dating scene? I don't know if you're with someone or not.
I'm single.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you look for when you're?
Well, I try not to have a list, and I try not to be like, particular about certain things. But three things have to be there in order for it to be working for a long-term relationship. They have to have a job. They have to have their shit together, and they have to want to grow, not only as a person, but like as a partner. So like they have to be willing to at least try to do that. Like be an entrepreneur, or be like start your own business, or like, do writing, or you follow your bliss. Like you have to be on the same page with all those things, because I've found out, like, I gave a lot of people chances, and because everybody's been down and out before, and everybody's had it, and I just felt like, well, maybe I give this guy a chance because he's, we have all this stuff in common, but it doesn't work unless you're both on the same level. So you have to start dating the person that is on your same level, and you have to also give yourself a chance to heal from past relationships, because a lot of times people don't do that. They rush into another relationship and they're still not over their ex, and it just causes more problems than it does good. You know what I mean?
You gotta say that, Tori. Heal yourself whole first, please.
You gotta have room to grow.
Yeah, I've been single for 4 years. Like I'm over my exes, so that's not a problem for me. But like I've seen it like be a big problem for like a lot of my friends, and like just like you guys were saying, and we've been saying the whole show, like you have to be on the same page with everything else too, with kids, religion, even football teams. Like you should have stuff in common with your significant other. Opposites do attract, but like if you have nothing in common except maybe great sex, you're never going to make it work.
Well, at least one part of the day you might make it work. But but okay, so that's a good information. But let me go with you, Dre. What are you looking for? Now you have children too, so that's another thing that we got to factor in. But what are you looking for? What's your list, man?
What's your list?
I think Dre got a list, man. I think he got a.
Well, it's a list. It's not really all that big, to be honest with you. They, like Shannon, like I want somebody that I can that she has the same faith as me. They have to love kids. They got to be able to love kids. And I don't expect, one thing I won't ever do is put the expectation of being a mother to my kids on anybody that I date. But I do want to see that they have caring qualities of a mother figure, but not necessarily because they have a mother who is in their life from time to time. So, but they got to love kids. They got to be compassionate, empathetic, easy on the eyes too. Like if I turn around and wake up in the morning, I want to be able to say, yeah, I did right. I did right. So. But I think those are the main things. I don't have a big list. There are some physical features that I appreciate in women.
What are they?
But then,
what are they?
So
we own the business.
Now I'll give you sort of like my ideal that's negotiable. And then like my non-negotiables. All right. So physically, I prefer women of darker complexion. But that's like that, but that's a preference. That's not like a deal breaker.
Yeah. What if she's a dark orange?
That's not my preference. But
she's on the Trump page.
Top.
She cannot be a carrot. It's okay.
Don't pay no attention to Kente as you were. Continue, please.
I prefer natural hair, and it doesn't matter the texture. I can care less about the texture. I care about the natural hair. So whatever hair that grows out of your head, I appreciate. Now, if you're wearing a weave or a wig, that's okay. That's my preference. I do prefer locks as well. That's a preference, but it's not. That's one of my. It doesn't matter. Non-negotiables. Gotta have a pretty smile. Very pretty smile. Nice eyes. This may sound superficial, but I'm gonna say it anyway because it's my preference. It doesn't. A thinner waist to hip ratio.
And Coca-Cola body.
Wow.
That's just yeah, that's pretty much it. I really just want to find somebody that's caring, nice. That's not for drama, because I don't want to do drama now. Like I'll be 40 this year, and I'm done with drama. You know,
what about a tad of drama? Just a little.
I was about to say you can't escape that.
Little bouquet. The bouquet of drama is a little bit there.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit of drama, as long as it accompanies some great makeup opportunities afterwards.
Dre, drama keep it spicy, bro. I messed up purposely like once every 3 months. It's even in quarters. I'm like, wait a minute, things are going too good. I gotta fuck some shit up. There you go.
Yeah, let me mess some shit up.
I thought that you guys sabotage stuff sometimes.
Yeah, well,
We do. It's like
Corey,
I
yes.
feel like I
forget to take the garbage out or something.
I mean, I can't speak for every male, but it's just like I know when I was a kid and I had toys, I would love the toy for like a month and a half. I'm like, this is my favorite Ninja Turtle. And then my mom catch me like 2 months later and I'm trying to set it on fire in the backyard. Look, that's just our nature. We like, oh, this shit is shiny, it's pretty, it's going nice.
Catch on fire.
You know, my mother, she probably would have put me in the flames. Like, you know how much I paid for this thing?
I know.
Listen, them 99 cent store toys, extra flammable.
Oh, okay.
Wait. Yeah. Oh, wait.
More,
I did miss a very important
What were you gonna say, Dre?
We got to be able to speak intelligently, even if we disagree, and peacefully. So I like to engage in intelligent conversation. So I forgot to say that.
Yes.
Not negotiable.
What
So,
about
all right.
what about some skills, like some skills in the kitchen? Some what kind of skills?
I'm a single father, and I have custody of my kids. I cook on my own.
That's what I'm
So
saying. But
that's
that could be
completely
fun. Like,
But Dre, don't you want to retire?
It would be nice to have somebody help with that, but like that's one of those things where it's okay.
I'm not talking.
I've been doing it now 10 years, so.
Well, okay, let me ask the ladies. How many of these ladies actually cook?
oh, I cook every day. I cook every day for my husband.
Oh, look at that.
People would not think that though because of my personality, but I do. I'm very domestic for my husband. But like when it comes to certain things, it is just like he knows I'm just not gonna do. But then there's things that I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't have no problem.
Ladies, don't knock that cooking.
Oh,
Look at
I will say,
Look at that man's face. Look at that man's face. He's happy because he's getting fed. He's getting fed.
My husband
didn't say anything against cooking, can't say.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can't know it. You can't tell right now. There's a big like difference in our size and stuff like that. My husband's like 6'5". My husband needs to eat, so I cook and I feed him very well, all across the board.
I didn't know. I didn't know people doing,
let my wife
the women that
cook.
didn't cook anymore. Like I thought that women were cooking all the time.
Do you cook?
I mean, I like to eat.
Yes,
I like to eat, so I gotta be able to cook something.
I'm a really good cook. Like, I didn't know that like it was a thing for like girls to not be able to cook. That seems like I don't know, given to me. Maybe I'm old fashioned that way.
I mean, at least be able to boil some al dente pasta, boil an egg or something. I mean, you gotta get some food on the table.
Basic life skills.
Yeah, like, I mean, you don't want to be no McDonald's mom, right? You don't want to be like, you don't want to be the happy every day.
McDonald's, that's not nourishment to nobody's soul. And you know,
no, it's not.
You're not about to lay up next to me after you done ate McDonald's burping Big Macs. I'm gonna be like,
you know, like McDonald's, old people and very young people. Those are the ones.
That's true. I know, but we're getting older now.
I still like McDonald's.
He's like,
Like you're gonna give me that. You're gonna give me that Big Mac, man.
well, I can make you a version of a Big Mac, not you, because Jada ain't gonna kill you. But you get what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You can get that.
I guess I'm old fashioned because like I want to like whenever I'm at if I'm with somebody, I want to cook for them and I want to clean for them and I want to do their laundry and I want to do that stuff. I want to like get all domesticated and like wash dishes every day and like I mean not that I don't now, but like like it becomes more of a purpose for me and like I don't know, not a job but a purpose. Like I want to do it and like I get joy out of doing it because it's making us a little family unit, and I'm surprised that a lot of my friends aren't like that. Like they're lazy and like they let their house go to shit and like they don't, it's like, wow. Like, I guess I just have old school values,
I'm going to tell you what I don't do.
Tori, are you talking about in a dating relationship? I'm sorry, Kente. Tori, are you talking about in a dating relationship? Those are the things that you would like to do for somebody?
Yeah, not like a very unserious, like not in a serious relationship, like whenever you've been with somebody a year, if you're living with them, you know what I mean? Like you have to cohabitate with them, like that's something that I do for all of my exes. I've done that. But like, if I'm just casually dating somebody, no, like I'm not going to go over to their house and like clean their house for them every week. Like that's not, I wouldn't do that.
You know what I don't do though? I don't do if I cook, then you wash dishes. I don't do that. Because some of y'all, when y'all cook, y'all mess the kitchen up terribly. I clean and cook at the same time.
That's what I do too.
So I will say that she's definitely good for cooking as you go.
I clean as I go.
And it's weird because like if I'm cooking or if I'm in the kitchen, she's
I'm right behind him.
There.
Literally, I'm like, you gonna clean that up?
Like a prison guard with a rifle. She's sitting there like you missed the spot, bro. You want to pick that up.
Yeah.
Right now.
Like, what's up? You gonna clean that? Or what? If you gonna make dinner and stuff like that, you gonna cook for me. Just make sure to do it right. If I'm cooking for you, I'm making sure I'm cleaning. I'm literally cleaning as I'm going. And there's not gonna be a dish in sight. There's not gonna be a mess or anything or a spot. So yeah.
See now, I like that. That's it.
Say that again.
Essential. Like clean dishes is essential. Like I will do the dishes myself.
Me too.
Because I know, like I can't eat off of a dirty dish, and I know every single dish I clean will get cleaned.
Thank you.
So like I don't mind doing it. I hate doing it, but I'll do it because
I hate doing it. No, I hate doing it. But that's the thing though. I feel like it's not always that great.
Yeah, it's not going to get done right if you don't do it yourself.
I feel like that, Dre. So, real quick, I'm going to go back to Tori real quick. So I think at times for all the women who are single, and I think and I know everyone has their preference. For me, and when I always like tell like some of my girlfriends and stuff like that, don't do married things. Don't act like a wife when you're just a girlfriend. And I don't. And it sounds bad, but
I can understand that.
No, and this is what I'm saying. So I feel like you could be generous and you could be, every now and then you may want to cook, right? For your boyfriend, but there's certain things that I feel like should happen after. You know what I mean? Because then they get accustomed. Men at times become complacent. And when you start doing wifely duties as a girlfriend, it's like, well, what's the point of making you and transition you to that? And if he's mature enough, he will do that. But most men, and I'm not saying all men are not like that. But this is how I've noticed, and I have a lot of male friends, and I know how they talk, and I know how they move and stuff like that. And my dad, growing up with my dad, he would literally school me on so much from an early age, right? And so what I'm saying is, just probably maybe really back, and I understand maybe you do. So the thing is, him and I didn't live together until we got married. I know some people get married. I mean, they live together, and stuff like that while they're dating. We didn't do that. Like we didn't live together until we were married, until after we were married. So there's certain things that, I feel like girlfriend shouldn't be doing.
I was like a very long-term relationship for like 7 years. That's like a marriage,
That is one.
And I was in another relationship for like 4 years. And so, like, there was.
And she was in both of those relationships at the same time, right?
I'm wild like that. No, but like right after each other, within 3 months of me breaking up with one, I was with another, and like, I didn't know how to date whenever I got out. Like, the last relationship was like, I didn't know like what to do, like. you know, all the new apps out there, and like, you know, online dating was like really big, and meeting people on Facebook, and like I didn't know any of that, and I was like, you know, going to bars and shit, and like wondering why everybody was on their phones, you know.
You know,
but
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but like, you know, I completely agree with you whenever you say that, because that kind of opens my eyes a little bit, because I've never been married, and like maybe I gave them too much, you know, like maybe they just like, oh well, that's all I'm gonna get for the rest of my life, so screw it. There's no more surprises.
And Tori was making them grits in the morning.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like me. I don't know how to date. It's like I've been married twice. Been divorced 14 years from my second wife.
Times.
I've not dated since she was the last person I dated.
Oh wow!
So it's been 14 years since I went on a date.
Wow!
So I don't know how to date.
You need to get your foot wet again. You need to get your feet wet.
Yeah, Santa Claus. You need a Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
Or at least someone to role play with you, Mrs. Claus.
There you go. Things in life are getting better and getting to where I want things to be at more.
That's good.
And I'm kind of tired of being by myself. I have a lot of friends, but
you know what I've been hearing a lot lately. And Shannon, maybe you hear this. I've heard this from friends. I've never experienced this, but female friends, not really male friends, more female friends. They'll be in a relationship, and they'll come to you, and they'll be like, "It's going too good," and they'll be concerned about how good it's going. What is that? We get along very well. He's great. He's awesome. He picks me up when he says he's going to do it. He's all of that. She's like, you know my zombie apocalypse, like love, my, post-apocalyptic world. Like I'm always worst case scenario, where's the shoe going to drop type of person. So like if it's going too good, like I suspect something. Like they're cheating, or like they're embezzling thousands of dollars from work, or like they're actually gay. You never know. So
that's horrible. That's horrible.
He's so good to hide the fact that he's a salami smuggler. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I mean, but the thing is, you got to be willing to take the risk on the person that you're with, and so. Sometimes you have to be open to the fact that they're just a dope person. There's no catch. There's no caveat. They're already flawed. I mean, but so were you. Both of y'all shit.
Hey, should I wait and do there and say, hey, you need
to son.
Hey, how are you?
That's the second. That's the middle child, right?
Yeah, that's my middle one. My soon-to-be 17-year-old.
All right.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, and that's the beauty of engaging people in relationship, regardless of what relationship you're engaging someone in. Each one of those relationships is a risk. Mm-hmm. You're looking for a return on your investment, but most married people who have been married for any length of time will tell you that sometimes you don't see that return on that investment until later down the pipeline. But you have taken that risk on that person and take that risk every day because of the commonalities that you guys have agreed upon. Or, you have just said, hey, I want to do life with you. You dope enough to experience this with. And I'd rather do the crazy with you than do normalcy with somebody else. Mm. It's a risk.
But also what happens too is when it's going too well, I think what I notice is that person they'll put salt in the game. So then now it goes bad. So they say, see, I knew it. It's like, you might have caused that. You caused that that BS.
But some people sabotage themselves.
I agree.
Some people eliminate themselves out of the game. Like we were just talking about this maybe on the podcast earlier this morning about how easy it is for you to ask for everything you want, and the universe, God, or whoever sends it to you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you do not know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. Like you have a list, that person is checking everything off your list, and you like, whoa, I'm not really ready for this. Like, what did I get myself into? And so sometimes we tend to write ourselves off. Like we want this, but we're not actually putting in the work to keep it. So I don't know. I say
to piggyback off,
but like
said, Shannon,
along the line,
piggyback off of what you just said. You may want it, right?
Too good to be.
You may not be ready for it. So
that part, and that's a whole different ball game, Jada. We were talking about this with a girlfriend. It's like at the end of the day, the right person at the wrong time is still the wrong person, and that's okay because timing is everything.
It's all about timing.
And you have to be open to whatever comes. You know, that doesn't mean that that person won't come back around. That doesn't mean that you won't grow and somebody else won't come along and sweep you off your feet. I mean, it's a timing game.
It is.
And so if your timing elapses and you ain't ready, don't get upset if somebody else comes along and is ready.
I never heard.
That's true.
I never heard a guy though say that. I've never heard a guy go, "Man, things are just too good, man, with this girl." I don't know, man. I never.
Well, he ain't saying it to you because he ain't trying to date you. But don't trust and believe. Guys have said that to women.
Okay, I never said that to no chick.
Well, you said you never heard.
Timing is everything, though.
Timing is everything.
I feel like my wife for a prime example of that because, again, I feel like we grew up 4 blocks from each other.
Yeah,
3-4 blocks from each other, and we
never knew each other. We
never met.
We have a lot of mutual friends.
So many mutual friends. Like we're not talking about like 1, 2.
We have several.
We have a bunch. She's dated guys from my high school. Like
yes,
we probably crossed paths, but we
weren't met. We weren't meant to meet.
We just weren't
when we were younger.
And we always said if we would have met each other,
we would have never been together.
Younger, we would have never been friends. We never would have met each other. She wouldn't have liked who I was when I was younger. I definitely probably wouldn't have liked who she was when I was like. It just the timing was perfect. Yeah. It was absolutely perfect when we met each other. So timing really is everything.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to make a comment. Wanted to come on and make it. Oh, I guess he's giving a spot to him.
Yeah, he said real quick.
What's going on, guys?
Is this Ellie? Hello.
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Hey.
This is the first time I'm meeting you. So hi, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet y'all. Shannon, I like joking around with you there in the comments. That was funny. And everybody, thank you. And I know, Kente, I'll be real quick. Yes, Shannon is correct. I have said that plenty of times in plenty of relationships of you feel like you're giving 110% and then you turn around and go, what doesn't seem right about this? And then you realize it's either you or the other person somehow making this relationship fail. And like for you two down there, Jada and your husband, what's your husband's name?
Jinx. You can call him Jinx.
James?
For my last name. Jinx. Jinx.
Jinx.
Jinx, yeah.
Okay. And I just wanted to let you guys know with my fiance and I, it's the same way is that we would have, we're 10 years different. She's 10 years older than me.
Nice.
If I would have met her when she was like in college at Western Illinois University or whatever else, I know she would have been another different type of girl that I would have dismissed easily. But now her being 40 and me being 30, I mean, we have our things together in our lives. And now we've been together for almost 3 years. We'll be together 3 years next month. And I want to say, congratulations. Thank you. And congratulations to 2 of you. And I wish you guys a long, happy marriage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll hop off of here. Go ahead and kick me off, Kente. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, that was
no.
By the way, congrats.
Yeah. Yes. That is really cool, though. I like to see you guys because you guys seem like a very happy couple. Young. How long have you been married?
We're 31. Oh, he just got off again?
Yeah. What did you say, Jada?
I said we're 31.
31. All right. Y'all some sweet little babies.
Yeah. And this will be our 3rd year of marriage this year. Will be our 3rd year.
Time flies.
Yeah, thank you. And I will say, so to just recap on pretty much a lot of things that we're saying as far as like finding Mr. and Mrs. Right. And I always feel like finding Mr. and Mrs. Right for you as an individual. But for us, we're each other's best friend. So that's what holds us together. When he gets on my effing last nerve, because they will get on your nerves, right? what holds us together, to be quite honest, is our friendship with each other. And we have, I will say, I think we're so blessed to have so many older married couples that help guide us, because you need. And so they say, it takes a village to raise a child. I think it also takes a village when it comes to being married. When you have older, wiser people who have been there, who've been married for 45 plus years, who've been married for 35, literally been married longer than we've been alive, I think that says a lot. And so, congratulations, King, right? Where it says a lot. You need people around you to help guide you, because you're going to have difficult moments, but it's the friendship for us that keeps us going. And we were able to feed and bounce off each other. And that's why, for me, that's what the biggest thing that I love about our relationship is, because we are friends first.
And I also want to add, definitely you want to get someone who's for you, but don't get what you need, your needs, and what you want confused.
Amen.
Because I will say, at first, she wasn't maybe what I wanted, but she definitely was what I needed. Right. And I will say that definitely caused friction, because what I needed at the time, I didn't know I needed it. Right. I will say, I will be man enough to admit, subconsciously, I knew what I needed, and I strayed away from certain women that I met that had certain qualities, because I knew I wasn't ready for what I actually needed. I know I wasn't ready to mature when I met this person. Even when I met her, I don't think I initially was ready. Hence why she was extremely patient, more patient than I thought she would have been, but I lucked out. But she definitely is what I needed. I needed that structure. I needed everything that I pretty much lacked as a child. She kind of gives me now, like the structure, the accountability, like, kind of just making sure that I stay on the straight and narrow. And I knew that's what I needed, and I knew that's what I wanted. And she kind of gives it to me, and I'm happy for it, and I'm blessed to have it. So just don't get confused about what you need and what you want. They're they're both 4-letter words, but they mean two totally different things.
You set the bar just now so high for us, single brothers. Now after seeing this, like, all the women are like cooing over there, and the guys are like, man, he just set the bar high. Now we got to go even higher. This man loves his life now, man.
We appreciate that.
We got to step up our game.
All right, so I want to thank everybody for coming and doing this show. We have one last show to do, and that's the closeout show. I want to thank, of course, you, Dre. I'm going to start off with you first, Dre, because I screwed up the intro.
I'll be.
Yeah.
What do you need?
No, I just wanted to give you a shout out and thank you so much for participating.
I appreciate it.
And of course, our wonderful couple, the Jink. Oops, wait, I don't want to say your government name. So,
the Jenkins.
Howard and Jada.
We're the Jenkinses.
Yes, I want to definitely thank you guys for coming on. Of course, in our disembodied voices, Tori as well as Olaf Barbosa. Thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
And I want to thank Shannon, of course. She's always given us that wonderful wisdom of hers. Thank you so much, Shannon. And one more broadcast left, and we'll say goodnight. At least I'll say goodnight. And
can we carry this topic into the last show?
Sure, we can do that. Yes. All right, so I'm gonna stop this one and then open up the next room. All right, here we go.
Shannon, I just want to let you know how dope you are.